The wrench slipped from my oil-slicked fingers and clattered to the concrete floor like a gunshot in the empty garage, echoing off the rusted tool racks and oil drums that had been my prison for the last 8 hours. I stared at the man kneeling in front of me, Christopher, with his faded blue jeans hugging thighs that could crush a watermelon. His flannel shirt unbuttoned just enough to reveal the tattoo of a compass rose inked over his heart, and whispered, "This isn't me. I don't do this." But his green eyes, flecked with gold like autumn leaves caught in headlights, locked onto mine, and in that split second, the world narrowed to the heat of his breath on my skin, the betrayal of my own racing pulse screaming that it was a lie. John. That's what they called me back in the fluorescent hell of corporate cubicles in downtown Seattle. Reliable John, the guy who fixed spreadsheets and never fixed his own loneliness. But here, under the sodium buzz of the shop's lights, with the Pacific Northwest rain drumming a relentless tattoo on the tin roof, I was unraveling like a cheap suit in a downpour. It started innocently enough. Or so I told myself as I nursed the third cup of burnt coffee from the ancient percolator in the corner. My '98 Ford Taurus had coughed its last on I-5 that morning, smoke billowing from under the hood like a dragon's exhale, stranding me in this godforsaken strip of highway between Tacoma and Olympia. The sign for Evergreen Auto Repair flickered in neon green, half the letters burned out, but it was the only light in a sea of shadowed evergreens. I limped the car into the lot, gravel crunching under tires that felt as defeated as I did. Christopher emerged from the office like a ghost from a John Mellencamp song. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a jawline that could cut glass and hair the color of wet sand, tousled from running his hands through it one too many times. He wiped them on a rag that hung from his belt loop, the motion pulling his shirt tight across a chest dusted with dark hair. "What V we got here?" he drawled, voice low and gravelly, laced with that Pacific Northwest drawl that turned every question into an invitation. I popped the hood, feeling exposed under his gaze, like he wasn't just assessing the engine but me, the rumpled button-down from a board meeting I couldn't remember, the khakis that screamed, "City boy lost." "Overheating," I muttered, avoiding those eyes. "Radiator, maybe, I don't know. Just get me back on the road." He leaned in close, the scent of motor oil and pine soap hitting me like a freight train. His arm brushed mine as he probed the hoses, and I swear the air crackled. "Yeah, looks like a gasket blew. Easy fix, but it'll take a day. You got a place to crash?" I didn't. My apartment in Seattle was a 2-hour tow away, and the idea of holing up in some roadside motel with its threadbare carpets and ghosts of truckers past made my skin crawl. "I'll manage," I said, but he straightened up, wiping sweat from his brow with the back of his hand, leaving a smudge of grease like war paint. "Nah, you won't. Storm's coming in heavy. Got a cot in the back if you don't mind the smell of antifreeze." His smile was crooked, disarming, the kind that made you forget you were a grown man who'd sworn off vulnerability after my last disaster of a relationship. A straight-laced accountant named Mark who'd ghosted me after one too many bro nights with his frat buddies. I should have said no. Should have called an Uber, hitched a ride, anything but linger in this grease monkey purgatory. But there was something in the way Christopher looked at me. Not pity, not lust outright, but curiosity, like I'd rolled in on 4 flats and he was dying to see what made me tick. "All right," I conceded. But just till morning. That night, as thunder rattled the windows and rain lashed the lot like God's own temper tantrum, we shared takeout from the Thai place down the road. Pad CEW greasy enough to lubricate a piston. Spring rolls that stuck to our fingers. The shop's office was a time capsule. Faded posters of muscle cars from the 70s, a mini fridge humming like a dying bee, and a radio tuned to classic rock. Springsteen crooning about highways and broken dreams. Christopher sprawled in the battered desk chair, legs kicked up, while I perched on the cot, knees drawn up like a kid at summer camp. "So, John," he said, popping a shrimp into his mouth, "what's a suit like you doing out here in the sticks? Running from something?" The question hung there, casual as the steam rising from our styrofoam containers, but it sliced deep. Running? Hell yes. From the job that chewed me up and spat me out. From the family back in Spokane who still whispered about that phase when they thought I wasn't listening. From the mirror that showed a man pushing 35 with laugh lines earned from too many solitary beers. Just life, I shrugged, forcing a laugh that tasted like ash. You know how it is. Chasing the American dream, or whatever bullshit they sell you in those self-help books. He nodded, slow, like he was filing it away. Yeah. Been there. Grew up in a trailer park off 101. Dad split when I was 10. Mom worked doubles at the diner. Thought fixing cars was my ticket out. Steady hands, steady pay. Turns out it's just another cage with better tools. His eyes drifted to the window, where lightning forked the sky, illuminating the tattoo peeking from his collar. I wanted to ask about it, trace the lines with my gaze, but the words stuck. Instead, we talked baseball, Mariners versus the Yankees, the '95 miracle season that neither of us remembered but both pretended to, and craft beer, the IPAs from local breweries that tasted like pine needles and regret. By the time the food was gone, the storm had eased to a drizzle, and the air between us hummed with unspoken things. He stood to clear the trash, his hip brushing my knee, and I felt it, that spark, electric as a shorted wire, coiling low in my gut. "You ever think about getting out?" I asked, voice rougher than intended. "Starting over somewhere the rain doesn't drown everything?" He paused in the doorway, backlit by the garage's fluorescence, shadow stretching long across the floor. "Every damn day. But roots, man, they're like these hoses twisted up, hard to pull free without breaking something." Then he grinned, that lopsided thing that made my chest ache. "Night, John. Holler if you need anything." I lay on that cot for hours, the shop's symphony of drips and creaks keeping sleep at bay, replaying the brush of his arm, the timbre of his laugh. By dawn, when the first gray light seeped through the grimy windows, I was a mess, heart pounding, mind racing with what-ifs that had no business in a place like this. Christopher was already under the hood when I wandered out, coffee mug in hand, steam curling like cigarette smoke. He glanced up, face smeared with effort, and wiped his forehead. "Morning, sunshine." "She's purring like a kitten already." Gasket was shot, but I threw in a flush for good measure. On the house, I leaned against the workbench, watching the play of muscles in his forearms as he torqued a bolt. "Thanks. Seriously. I owe you." His laugh was a rumble, deep in his chest. "Owe me? Nah. But if you're heading back to the city, maybe grab a beer sometime. Show me there's more to Seattle than traffic and hipsters." It was casual, tossed out like a spare part, but it landed heavy. My throat tightened. "Yeah. Maybe." We exchanged numbers scribbled on a greasy invoice, his fingers lingering on mine a beat too long, and then I was sliding into the driver's seat, engine humming smooth as silk. As I pulled onto the slick highway, Evergreen Auto Repair shrank in the rearview, a neon ghost in the mist, and I told myself that was it. A detour, a flirtation, nothing more. But 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed during a soul-sucking conference call. "Hey, city boy. Still owe me that beer? See." I stared at the screen, pulse thundering, and typed back before reason could intervene. Friday, 7 p.m. Pike Place. That first date was a blur of salt-tinged air and market bustle. The Ferris wheel's lights spinning lazy circles over Elliott Bay as we wandered from stall to stall. Christopher showed up in a clean Henley that hugged his frame, jeans worn soft at the knees, looking every bit the small-town heartthrob transplanted to the big city. He bought me a bouquet of wildflowers from a vendor with henned hands, their petals bruised purple and yellow, and I laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in months. "Your trouble," I said, tucking one behind my ear like a fool, the stem tickling my skin. "Only the good kind," he replied, eyes crinkling at the corners. We ended up at a dive bar off Post Alley, nursing pints of hazy IPA under strings of Edison bulbs that cast everything in amber glow. He talked about his mom, how she'd remarried a fisherman who treated her right, how the shop was his now since his uncle passed last winter. I spilled about the job, the endless mergers, the boss who called me champ like it was a slur, and the ex, Mark, who'd bailed when things got real, muttering about figuring himself out over text. Christopher listened, really listened, his hand finding mine across the scarred oak table, thumb tracing circles on my knuckles. "Sounds like he was a coward," he said softly. "You deserve better than half-assed." Heat bloomed in my chest, spreading south, and when he leaned in, lips brushing mine in the dim booth, it was like igniting dry tinder, soft at first, then fierce, tongues tangling with the taste of hops and salt. We stumbled out into the night, his arm around my waist, and by the time we reached my apartment building, the city's hum faded to the rhythm of our breaths. Upstairs, in the tangle of sheets that smelled of laundry detergent and regret, he was gentle, hands mapping my body like a blueprint, lips whispering praises against collarbones and hip bones. "God, John, you're beautiful," he murmured, voice wrecked, as I arched under him, fingers digging into the compass tattoo that pointed true north over his heart. It was more than sex. It was absolution, two lost souls finding harbor in the storm. The next morning, sunlight slanted through the blinds, gilding his sleeping form, lashes fanned dark on freckled cheeks, one arm slung possessively over my waist. I traced the ink on his chest, the needle's path worn smooth by time, and wondered what direction it had charted for him. When he woke, yawning like a lion, he pulled me close, nuzzling into my neck. "Stay," he mumbled. "Call in sick." I didn't. But I did text my assistant a vague family emergency, and we spent the day tangled in bed, ordering dim sum from the place downstairs, watching old westerns on TCM where cowboys rode into sunsets that never quite panned out. It became a rhythm, Fridays bleeding into weekends, his truck parked curbside while we cooked spaghetti in my galley kitchen, sauce splattering like abstract art. He taught me to change a tire in the building's lot, laughing when I cursed the lug nuts, and I dragged him to indie films at the Egyptian, where we'd sneak kisses in the dark during the slow scenes. But cracks formed, subtle as hairline fractures in a windshield. He'd dodge questions about his past, changing the subject with a grin and a graze of teeth along my jaw. "Water under the bridge, babe," he'd say, but his eyes would cloud, distant as the Olympics on a hazy day. One night, 3 months in, we were at his place, a cramped A-frame on the edge of Tacoma, walls lined with car manuals and faded Polaroids of a younger him, grinning gap-toothed beside a dirt bike. The air smelled of sawdust and WD-40, a far cry from my sterile condo. We'd just finished making love on the creaky futon, sweat cooling on our skin, when his phone lit up on the nightstand. The name flashed, Tommy. He snatched it quick, too quick, thumb swiping to silence. "Work," he muttered, rolling away to tuck it under the pillow. I propped on an elbow, heart stuttering. "At midnight? Come on, Chris." "It's nothing," but his shoulders tensed, the tattoo shifting like a warning. The silence stretched, thick as fog rolling off the sound. Finally, he sighed, flopping onto his back, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. "Tommy's an old friend. From back home. We don't talk much, friend." The word landed like a spark on gasoline. I'd seen the photos in his wallet once, a candid of 2 boys, arms slung around each other at a county fair, Ferris wheel lights blurring behind them. Christopher, maybe 18, with that same crooked smile, and the other Tommy, blonde, blue-eyed, looking at him like he hung the moon. "Is he more than that?" My voice cracked, small in the room's hush. He turned then, cupping my face, thumb brushing my lip. "Was. Long time ago. It ended bad, me too scared to come out, him too proud to wait. Haven't seen him in years." Relief flooded me, warm as summer rain, and I kissed him fierce, pouring forgiveness into it. "Okay. Just no secrets. Yeah, we're in this. No secrets," he promised, pulling me under him again, bodies aligning like gears slotting home. But promises are fragile things, bent easy by the weight of old ghosts. The first fracture came subtle, a whisper in the wind off the bay. It was a Thursday in late October, leaves turning the parks into firestorms of red and gold, when Christopher canceled our plans, some vague shop emergency that left him distracted, phone buzzing like a hornet's nest through dinner the night before. I waited at the cafe in Capitol Hill, nursing a flat white that went cold as my unease grew, texts unanswered until, "Sorry, babe. Rain check. Love you. Love you." The words hit like a gut punch, sweet and sudden, but laced with the aftertaste of doubt. We'd said it in bed, murmured against sweat-damp skin, but never in daylight, never texted like a lifeline. I drove home through sheets of rain, wipers slapping rhythm to my churning thoughts, and poured a scotch neat, the burn chasing shadows. By Friday, he was back, flowers in hand, that sheepish grin melting my resolve as he pulled me into the hall, kissing apology into every corner of my mouth. "Rough week," he explained over pizza on the couch, feet tangled under a throw blanket. "Big job came in, custom restore on a '67 Mustang. Owner's a prick, breathing down my neck." I nodded, tracing the veins on his forearm, but the buzz in his pocket pulled his gaze again. Another silenced call. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just suppliers." He flipped the phone face down, reaching for me instead, hands roaming with that familiar hunger. We made love on the living room floor, carpet burn blooming on my knees, his name a chant on my lips as he drove deep, chasing away the specters. But they lingered. Weekends blurred into stolen hours, him working late, me burying in reports that blurred on the screen. One evening, scrolling Instagram in the tub, bubbles foaming like champagne regrets, I searched his handle on a whim. At Chris Fixes All, posts of gleaming engines, sunsets over the shop, a selfie from our first hike up Rattlesnake Ledge, my back to the camera, his arm around my waist captioned best view in WA Adventure Buddies. Then, buried in the grid, a story highlight from months back, a bonfire on a beach, flames licking driftwood logs, and there Christopher, laughing, with a man whose face twisted my gut. Blonde hair tousled by salt wind, arms slung casual over Chris's shoulders, their heads bent close. The tag at Tommy waves in. I dropped the phone into the water, screen bubbling like my rising bile. Tommy. The ex. The ghost. But the date 2 weeks ago. While I'd been drafting emails in a hotel in Portland for that godawful client retreat. Coincidence? I told myself, draining the tub and toweling off with hands that shook. Old friends catch up. But sleep evaded me that night, the bed vast and cold without his weight beside me. Saturday dawned crisp, pumpkins grinning from stoops as we drove to the farmer's market in Fremont, his hand on my thigh shifting gears. He bought cider donuts dusted with cinnamon, feeding me bites that stuck sweet on my tongue. And for a moment, it was perfect, the troll under the bridge winking concrete approval, accordion's wheezing polka from a busker's corner. Then his phone chirped again, and this time, he answered, stepping away to the raspberry stall. I watched from afar, heart hammering as his face tightened, words lost to the crowd's murmur but posture screaming tension. When he returned, smile forced, couldn't hold it. Who is it? Chris. Really? He paused, apple in hand, juice glistening on his lips. Just a buddy from the shop. Poker night drama. Liar. The word slipped out, sharp as shattered glass. Heads turned, elderly couples with tote bags, a tattooed barista hawking lattes, but I didn't care. I saw the photo. Tommy. On the beach. 2 weeks ago, his color drained, apple forgotten in the dirt. John. It's not. Don't. I backed away, chest heaving. You promised no secrets. The market spun, colors bleeding, voices a roar, as he reached for me. Wait. Please. Let me explain. But I was already gone, weaving through the throng, the cider souring in my gut like betrayal's first bite. He found me at home, pounding on the door until the neighbor's dog yapped in protest. I let him in, arms crossed like armor, the living room a battlefield of scattered mail and half-read novels. Tommy showed up at the shop, he started, voice raw, pacing the rug like a caged wolf. Out of nowhere. Said he was passing through, needed a tune-up on his Harley. We grabbed a beer after, that's all. Old times, John. Nothing more. A beer on the beach, at night. Sarcasm dripped. Venomous. Come on. I have eyes. Christopher stopped, running hands through his hair, leaving it wild. Okay. Fine. More than a beer. He kissed me. Once. I pushed him away, told him I'm with you. But yeah, it happened. And I didn't tell you because I knew it'd hurt like this. Hurt. It was an avalanche, burying me. Memories of his hands on me now tainted. Every whisper suspect. Why? After everything, he sank onto the couch, elbows on knees, head bowed. Fear, I guess. Tommy was my first high school stolen moments in the back of his dad's truck. He wanted out, wanted me to shout it from the rooftops. Couldn't. Small town, you know? Dad's ghost hanging over everything, saying real men don't. He trailed off, voice cracking. I lost him then. Didn't want to lose you now. The room tilted, empathy warring with rage. I wanted to hold him, shake him, walk away forever. Instead, I sat beside him, space between us a chasm. You should have trusted me. Us. I know. His hand found mine, tentative, calluses rough against my palm. I'm sorry, John. God, I'm so sorry. We talked till dawn, words tumbling like laundry in a dryer, sorting clean from soiled. He swore it was over, deleted Tommy's number under my watchful eye, and I believed him, or wanted to, the fragile glue of forgiveness holding us through the night. We made love slow, deliberate, reclaiming territory inch by inch, his tears salt on my tongue as he whispered I love you like a prayer. But trust is a house of cards in a breeze, and the wind was picking up. November crept in on frost-kissed heels, Thanksgiving looming like a family obligation I dreaded. Christopher invited me to his mom's in Shelton, turkey and pie, her new husband manning the grill with stories of salmon runs. Come on. He coaxed over breakfast burritos, avocado smearing his chin. Meet the clan. Make it official. Official. The word thrilled and terrified, a step toward the white picket future I'd half-dreamed since college, back when pride parades were rebellion and love felt invincible. I said yes, packed a flannel that itched like doubt. The drive was a postcard, highway ribboning through fir cathedrals, Hood Canal glittering steel blue under a sky scrubbed clean. His mom's place was a bungalow with wind chimes tinkling sea shanties, porch sagging under pots of chrysanthemums. She hugged me fierce, flour-dusted apron enveloping me in yeast and warmth. Heard all about you, John. Welcome. Dinner was chaos, his cousins rowdy with football bets, aunts pressing seconds of cranberry relish that stained teeth red. Christopher's hand stayed on my knee under the table, anchor in the storm, and when he carved the bird with practiced slices, I saw the boy he'd been, dutiful son in a kitchen thick with expectation. Later, as pie cooled on wire racks, Tommy's name shattered the idol. A cousin, buzzed on Uncle Bob's moonshine, pulled out his phone, scrolling pics from a recent crab boil. Hey, Chris, remember this guy? Tommy crashed last weekend's thing. Man, you two were thick as thieves back in the day. The photo, Christopher and Tommy, arms linked at a picnic table laden with Dungeness shells, smiles wide, bottles clinking. Recent. Too recent. My fork clattered, pumpkin filling splattering like blood accusation. All eyes turned, the room's chatter dying to a hum. John, Christopher's voice, strained. I stood, chair scraping linoleum. Excuse me, out the door, into the chill night where stars pricked black velvet, breath fogging like unspoken truths. He followed, porch light haloing his silhouette. It's nothing. Family thing. He just showed up again. Again. Fury boiled, hot as the cider mulled on the stove. How many times, Chris? How many just showed ups before you tell me? Twice. 3. Max. He stepped close, hands raised placation. I swear, it's over. He's leaving town tomorrow. Job in Alaska or some shit. I laughed. Bitter. Backing toward the truck. Alaska. Convenient. Like your excuses. John. Please. Desperation cracked his voice. Green eyes pleading. Don't do this. I love you. The words. Once bomb. Now barbed. Love? Or just afraid to be alone? I yanked the door open. Engine roaring to life as tires spun gravel in a spray of white. He pounded the window. Rain starting anew. Streaking his face. Come back. We can fix this. But I drove into the dark. Wipers slashing tears from the glass. Heart-a-engine seizing on the open road. Back in Seattle, the apartment echoed hollow. Takeout containers from forgotten nights mocking from the fridge. His flannel draped over the chair like a flag of surrender. I called in sick Monday. Tuesday. Curled fetal under duvet that smelled of him. Pine and oil. Friends texted. You okay? But words failed. A lump in my throat the size of betrayal. By Wednesday, resolve hardened like cooling solder. I drove to Evergreen. The shop a squat sentinel under overcast skies. Lot empty save his truck. Inside, the air hung heavy with solvent and silence. Radio off for once. Christopher emerged from the bay. Coveralls streaked black. Face gaunt as a specter. John. Relief flooded his features. Then wariness. You came back. Not for you. Half true. I thrust the key fob at him. My spare. The one I'd given after that weekend in the San Juans. Stargazing from a rooftop tent. Just tying loose ends. Car's been running fine. No more detours. He didn't take it. Hands fisting at sides. Don't. Please. I fucked up. Yeah. Tommy's gone. Called him out. Told him to stay the hell away. But you're it, John. The real deal. Pain lanced. Sharp as a slipped blade. Real? Then why the lies? Why him? Tears tracked clean paths through grease on his cheeks. Because I'm broken. Okay. Scared shitless of us. Growing up, love was a luxury, something you hid or lost. With you, everything terrifies me. The confession hung, raw, peeling back layers to the boy under the ink, the man under the myth. My resolve cracked, fingers twitching toward him. Then fight for it. No more ghosts. He closed the gap, forehead to mine, breaths mingling. I will. Promise. We stood there, in the garage's fluorescent confessional, rain pattering like hesitant applause, and I let him pull me close, arms iron bands, heart thundering Morse code of amends. Winter clamped down hard that December, snow dusting the Cascades like powdered sugar on a fist, the city hunkering under gray skies that wept sleet. Christopher and I rebuilt, brick by cautious brick, date nights at hole-in-the-wall Tacarius where we shared carnitas tacos dripping with lime, his boot nudging mine under the table like a secret handshake. He left his flannel at my place, a talisman against the chill, and I started leaving notes in his toolbox. Fixed your heart today, Jay? Scribbled on post-its yellow as caution tape. But Tommy's shadow lingered, a smudge on the windshield no squeegee could erase. I'd catch Christopher staring at his phone, thumb hovering, then setting it down with a sigh. Old habit, he'd mutter, pulling me into a kiss that tasted of mint and contrition. I believed him, mostly, nights when he'd drive the hour to Seattle just to crash on my couch, waking to his snores and the patter of espresso from the machine. Christmas Eve. He showed up unannounced, cheeks flushed from the cold, a sprig of mistletoe dangling from his fist like a white flag. Truce? He grinned, and I yanked him inside, the door slamming on the wind-whipped street. We trimmed a tree scavenged from the lot down the block, Charlie Brown sparse, but strung with lights that twinkled like promises. He hung an ornament he'd carved from pine, two silhouettes intertwined, etched rough but tender. "For us," he said, voice thick, as Bing Crosby crooned White Christmas from the speakers. Under the boughs, wrapped in a quilt pieced from his mom's scraps, we made love slow and sacred, his fingers interlacing mine above my head, bodies rocking to the rhythm of carols and heartbeats. "Marry me," he whispered against my temple, post-climax haze turning words to vapor. "Someday. When we're ready." I froze, pulse skittering. Marriage, rings and vows, a life scripted in forever. Part of me soared, the rest recoiled, scarred by Mark's vanishing act, the world's casual cruelties. "Someday," I echoed, kissing him quiet, buying time in the glow. New Year's dawned hungover and hopeful, fireworks blooming over the Space Needle as we toasted with cheap Prosecco on my balcony, city sprawl glittering below. "To detours," he toasted, clinking glasses, and I laughed, pulling him close against the rail, wind tugging at our scarves. But January brought the blizzard, a whiteout that buried the sound in drifts and shut the shop for days. Stranded at his A-frame, we holed up like hermits, fire crackling in the stone hearth, soup simmering on the wood stove, his body my furnace through endless nights. One afternoon, snow cocooning the world silent, he pulled a box from under the futon. Letters, yellowed and tied with twine. "Tommy's," he said, settling beside me on the braided rug, flames dancing shadows on the walls. "Kept them to remember why I couldn't stay. Thought you should see." I hesitated, fingers hovering, but nodded. The first, scrawled in blue ballpoint, dated 2007. "Chris, last night in the truck, stars like diamonds, your hand in mine. Don't let fear win. We could have it all. Love, T." Heartache bled from the page, young and fierce. Deeper in, please turning to anger. "You're killing me, hiding us like a dirty secret. If you won't fight, I'm gone." The last, postmarked from San Diego, "Forgive me for walking. But I had to live. Be brave for once." Tears pricked, not jealousy but sorrow, for the boys they'd been, choices carving canyons. "You loved him," I said softly, handing back the bundle. "Still do, in a way." Christopher's voice was gravel, like a bruise that never quite fades. "But you're the healing." He burned them then, one by one, in the fire's maw, flames devouring ink and intent, ash swirling up the chimney like released sins. We watched in silence, then tumbled to the rug, making love with the urgency of survivors, his compass tattoo pressing into my palm like a vow etched in skin. February thawed tentative. Valentine's a quiet affair. Chocolates from the corner shop, a mixtape he'd burned of Springsteen and Otis Redding, crooned off-key in the truck cab. But under the romance, tension simmered. My promotion at work demanding 80-hour weeks, his shop swamped with post-storm repairs. Texts grew sparse, calls clipped with exhaustion. The call came mid-March, a Friday night when I was buried in spreadsheets, takeout low main cooling untouched. Christopher's voice, edged with panic. John, I need you. Shop's on fire, nothing major, but the office. Everything's gone. I was there in 20 minutes, screeching into the lot where fire trucks idled red and white sentinels, hoses snaking across the gravel like veins. Smoke curled acrid from the office window, glass shattered black with soot. Christopher stood apart, blanket draped over shoulders, face streaked gray, eyes hollow. What happened? I pulled him close, the blanket wool against my cheek. Electrical, they think. Faulty wiring in the wall. His laugh was shattered glass. Years of grease and grit, and it goes up like tinder. The firefighters milled, radios crackling, as we watched the last embers hiss under foam. Inside, the cot charred to springs, takeout ghosts carbonized. But worse, the safe, pried open in the chaos, papers spilling like confetti, insurance stubs, his uncle's will, and there, a photo singed at edges, him and Tommy, young and unscarred, arms around a Christmas tree. Kept that one, he admitted, voice small. Stupid, I crushed it in my fist, ash flaking to the ground. We said no ghosts. I know, defeat bowed his shoulders. Just habit. The fire marshal cleared the scene by dawn, sight taped off yellow caution. We crashed at a motel nearby, neon vacancy buzzing like a migraine, bed sagging under twin weights of grief. He curled into me, shaking not from cold but collapse. What now? Shop's my life. Without it, you've got me, I murmured, stroking his hair, but doubt gnawed. My city job a tether pulling east, his roots sinking deeper west. Cleanup stretched weeks. Insurance a bureaucratic hydra. I commuted weekends, hands blistered from hauling debris, lungs raw with char. One Saturday, elbow deep in ash, my phone rang, unknown number, Tacoma area code. John, this is Diane, Christopher's mom. Can we talk? Her voice, warm as fresh pie crust, but laced worry. We met at a diner off the highway. Vinyl booths cracked like old skin, coffee black as the soot still under my nails. He's not right, she said, stirring sugar endless circles. Since the fire, he's distant. And Tommy called the house yesterday. Said he heard about the shop, wanted to help. Rage flared, hot as the blaze. Help? After everything, she sighed, lines etching deeper. Tommy's family, in a way, broke my boy's heart, but blood's thicker, or so they say. Just be patient. He's scared of losing it all again. I drove back raging, tires chewing asphalt, bursting into the shop where Christopher sorted singed tools, oblivious. Tommy called your mom? No preamble. Accusation a whip crack. He straightened, wrench clanging to concrete. What? No. Liar. The word again. Our refrain. Diane told me. He's worming back in. Isn't he? Jesus. John. There's one call. Offering a loan. That's it. Frustration sharpened his tone. Shop's drowning. I turned him down. But you considered it. The chasm yawned, swallowing light. He stepped close, hands gripping my arms. Yeah, for a second. For us. But I won't. I choose you, every damn time. Words, weightless as smoke. I wrenched free, storming to the truck. Then prove it. Cut him out. For good. I will. Desperation chased me into the cab. John. Wait. But the door slammed. Engine roaring denial. Leaving him in the lot. Figure shrinking small as the fire's ruin. That night, alone in Seattle, I packed a bag, essentials, escape hatch. Work blurred to numbness. Colleagues housed the beau, met with tight smiles. A week passed in radio silence. My texts unanswered, voicemails piling like snowdrifts. Then, the knock, 2 a.m., rain lashing windows like judgment. Christopher on the stoop, soaked to bone, duffel at feet. Go, he said, voice thundercracked. If that's what you need. But I'm done running. I pulled him in, towel rough on his shivering frame, words tumbling. I can't keep waiting for the other shoe. Tommy, the shop. Your fears. It's killing me. He nodded, water dripping from lashes. I know. Sold the A-frame today. Moving to Seattle. Full-time. No more half measures. The announcement stunned. Pivot sharp as a hairpin turn. The shop. Rebuilding remote, partnering with a Tacoma guy. But you. You're home. His hands framed my face. Cold thumbs warm on my cheeks. Marry me, John. Not someday. Now. Courthouse. Vegas. Whatever. Just us. Tears mixed with rain on his skin as I kissed him. Fierce and forgiving. The bag forgotten on the floor. We stripped in the hall. Water pooling. Bodies colliding in the bathroom steam shower hot as hellfire. His back to tile. Legs wrapped tight as vows unspoken. Dawn found us tangled in sheets. City stirring below. And I whispered yes into his hair. The word a key turning locks long rusted. Spring erupted defiant that April. Cherry blossoms carpeting Queen and Hill in pink confetti. The city shaking off winter like a dog after a bath. Christopher's move was chaos incarnate. Boxes crammed with socket wrenches and dog-eared repair manuals stacked in my living room. His truck idling double-parked as we Tetrised furniture into the spare room we'd rebranded the office. He hung his tool belt on the coat rack like a trophy. Kissed the door jamb with mock reverence. Honey, I'm home. We settled into domesticity's groove. Mornings with his coffee black as midnight. My latte frothed with oat milk. Evenings where he'd tinker with a laptop for remote consults while I graded reports. Feet entwined under the coffee table. The compass tattoo became my north. Traced lazy circles during Netflix binges. The Last of Us zombies forgotten in favor of his fingers on my thigh. But ghosts don't exorcise easy. Tommy's specter resurfaced in fragments. A forwarded mail from the A-frame. His scrawl on an envelope. Heard about the fire. Call if you need. Christopher crumpled it. Tossed it unopened. But the crease lingered in his brow. Work for me crested a wave. Promotion solidified to senior analyst. Corner office with a view of the ferries slicing Puget Sound. Colleagues toasted at happy hours. To John, the golden boy. But the champagne fizzed flat against my unease. Christopher celebrated with steak at the Metropolitan. Candlelight gilding his grin. But his eyes darted when the waiter, tall, tattooed, lingered too long pouring wine. Jealous, I teased later. In the cab home, his hand possessive on my knee. Of him? Nah, but his laugh rang hollow. And in bed, he held me tighter, thrusts urgent as if staking claim. May bloomed humid, Memorial Day barbecues scenting the air with charcoal and possibility. We hosted friends, my coworker Lisa with her kale salad, Christopher's buddy from the shop, my cracking beers and bad jokes. The balcony overflowed laughter, string lights twinkling like fireflies, and for a breath, it was enough. His arm around my shoulders, plate balanced on knees, the city a distant hum. Then Mike clapped Christopher's back, slurring, "Miss your ugly mug at the shop, man. Tommy's been asking after you. Says that Harley purrs like a dream now." The name dropped like a match in dry grass. Conversation stuttered, Lisa's eyes flicking curious. Christopher stiffened, beer bottle sweating in his grip. "Tell him to fuck off." Mike blinked, oblivious. "Whoa, easy. Just saying." I said fuck off. Low growl. Final. The party deflated, excuses trailing like smoke as guests filtered out. Alone, balcony littered with cups. I confronted him under the stars. "He's not gone, is he?" Still circling. Christopher leaned on the rail, city lights fracturing in his eyes. "Mike's drunk." "Means nothing, but it does." My voice rose, wind-snatching words. "Every mention, and you're a million miles away. I can't compete with a memory, Chris." He whirled, hands raking hair. "It's not competition. Tommy's the past. Messy, yeah, but buried. You're now. Future. Then bury it deeper." Ultimatum edged my tone. "Block him. Change numbers. Or I'm out." Defiance flared, then crumbled. "Fine. Whatever it takes." He did it that night, phone in hand. Contacts purged like digital heresy. Number changed under my supervision. We made love on the couch, desperate and devouring. His body a map I memorized anew, erasing phantom touches. June sweltered, Pride Month unfurling rainbows across the streets, flags snapping from lampposts, drag brunches spilling mimosas and glitter. We marched in the parade, his hand in mine, sweaty palm defiant, rainbow tank clinging to my chest, his flannel tied pirate style at waist. The crowd roared, bass thumping from floats, and for blocks, we were invincible, kissing amid confetti storms, strangers cheering love winds. That night, rooftop party at a friend's in Belltown, skyline ablaze with sunset. Cocktails flowed, cosmos pink as promises, and Christopher danced with me under paper lanterns, hips grinding slow to indie electronica, sweat beating his temple. "This," he murmured, breath hot on my neck, "is what I fought for." But euphoria cracked at midnight. Phone buzz from his pocket, new number. But the text preview glowed. "Miss you, Compass Boy." Beach bonfire? He silenced it quick, but I'd seen. Heart plummeting, I slipped away to the rail, city lights blurring wet. "John," his voice, contrite, followed. "Ignore it." I told him. "You told him what?" "To back off." Sarcasm scalded. "Or just not now?" We argued in whispers, party pulse mocking our fracture. Guests twirling oblivious, bass vibrating the floor. "I blocked the old number," he hissed. "But he found me through Mike. It's harassment now." Harassment. Disbelief choked me. "Or temptation you won't shut down?" Hurt flashed. "Bro, you think I'd throw us away? After everything? I think you're scared." I shot back, voice breaking. "Of committing. Of losing the safety net." He recoiled, as if slapped. "Safety net? Tommy's a goddamn anchor, dragging me down. You're the sail." Words hung, sails limp in still air. I walked away, Down fire escape stairs clanging echo, hailing a cab in the street's neon wash. Home alone. I curled on the bed, his pillow scent taunting, sleep a distant shore. He showed up at dawn, key I'd given him turning quiet in the lock. Kitchen light bloomed, coffee brewing as I emerged, robe belted tight. I'm done, he said, setting mug steaming before me. With the half-life. Quit the remote gig today, full move to Seattle. Job hunting here, apartments, whatever. And Tommy. He slid a paper across the counter. Restraining order draft. Signatures fresh. Legal. Permanent. Stunned. I scanned the legalese, protection from contact. Violations met with force. You mean it. Every word. His eyes, green earnest, held mine. Marry me, John. June 30th. Courthouse. No fanfare, just us and a witness. The date loomed, summer solstice heat. My yes trembled out, fragile as new leaf, and he swept me up, spinning till the room whirled, laughter bubbling free. Wedding prep was whirlwind. Rings simple silver bands engraved true north. Vows scribbled on napkins over midnight tacos. Lisa as witness, her squeals echoing the marble hall as judge intoned by the power. I do, Christopher said, voice steady, slipping ring cool on my finger. I do, I echoed, sealing it with a kiss salt sweet. Cheers faint from passers-by. Honeymoon was a cabin in the Olympics, cedar walls, king bed piled quilts. No signal to summon ghosts. We hiked mossy trails, his hand in mine swinging. Lake swims where he dunked me laughing. Evenings on the porch with wine and stars. One night, fireflies winking, he pulled a box from his pack. The compass, now a pendant, chain glinting. For you. So you always find your way back. I fastened it around my neck, metal warm against skin. To you, lovemaking that night was sacrament. Slow explorations by lantern light. His lips charting my body like unclaimed territory. Whispers of forever mingling with moans. But July's heat wave baked illusions brittle. Back in the city, routine reasserted, my office air-conditioned sterile. His new job at a downtown garage bustling with hybrids and EVs. Grease traded for circuits. We cooked paella on the balcony, saffron staining fingers gold. But arguments simmered low, my late nights, his frustrations with city traffic. The bomb dropped August 1st. A sweltering Tuesday when I came home early, tie loosened, craving his arms. The apartment hummed quiet, shower running, his early shift off. I called his name, playful, but no answer, only the patter. Pushing the bathroom door, steam billowed, and there, through the fogged glass, two figures, entwined. Christopher's back to me, hands braced on tile, and pressed against him, blonde head bowed, Tommy. Time fractured, sound tunnel narrowing to water's rush, my gasp a thunderclap. They sprang apart, door flying open, Christopher's face ashen, towel clutched futile. John, horror choked him. Tommy smirked, unashamed, water sluicing his frame. Oops. Cat's out. Betrayal roared. Title visions flashing. The beach photo. The calls. The harassment. Lies layered thick as summer smog. You son of a... I lunged. Fist connecting jaw crack with Tommy's smugness. Blood blooming copper on my knuckles. Christopher yanked me back. Slippery grip desperate. Stop. It's not. Not what? I roared, wrenching free, chest heaving. Not you fucking him in our shower? Tommy laughed, low, wiping lip. Enlightening, isn't it? He's always been mine. Get out, Christopher bellowed, shoving him toward the door. Naked fury. Both of you now. Tommy dressed leisurely, jeans zipping taut, vanishing with a wink that seared. Alone, water pooling cold on tile, Christopher sank to knees, sobs racking. He showed up, forced his way in, said he had nowhere. The Alaska gig tanked. I was weak, angry at the job, at us straining. It was once. Stupid, so stupid, disgust curdled, love's embers ash. Once, or the safety net snapping taut, I backed away, ring heavy as lead. We're done, John. Please. He crawled, pathetic, grabbing my ankle. I love you. Fix this. We can. No. Final. Blade sharp. I twisted free, grabbing keys, fleeing the apartment's tomb. The drive was blind fury, streets blurring to streaks under sodium lamps, radio static hissing recriminations. I ended up at Lisa's in Ballard couch crash, her arms maternal as she brewed chamomile and listened to the unravel. My ring tossed on the coffee table like discarded vow. Stay as long as you need, she said, stroking my hair. But dawn brought clarity cold as fjord water. Divorce papers, locks changed, a life unspooled. Monday, I filed proesy, courthouse echo hollow with my heels on marble, forms stamped efficient as a guillotine. Christopher's calls bombarded, voicemails fractured please. I'm sorry. Come home. Let me explain. I blocked him, number new as my resolve. Apartment scoured of his scent with bleach and lemon polish. Summer waned sticky. Labor Day a farce of picnics I skipped. Burying in work spreadsheet sanctuaries. Promotions hollow victories. Friends rallied. Brunches where Lisa plied mimosas. Mike from the shop texting awkward he's a mess. Man. Give him a chance? But anger armored me. Betrayal's scar tissue tough. September's equinox tipped autumn gold. Leaves skittering gutters like fleeing thoughts. One evening, walking home from the market, bags heavy with heirloom tomatoes. Basil pungent. I spotted him across the street. Christopher. Leaner. I shadowed. Duffel slung. Hailing a cab outside my building. Our eyes locked. Time stuttering. He froze. Hand dropping. Mouth opening fish silent. Crossed. Not running but deliberate. Tomatoes bruising in my grip. Going somewhere? Neutral. As feigned. He swallowed. Adam's apple bobbing. Yeah. Crashing with Mike till I figure shit out. Didn't want to ambush you. The cab idled. Exhaust chugging impatience. Part of me ached. The man who'd burned letters, carved ornaments, danced under lanterns. But the shower steam ghosted. Tommy's smirk a brand. Good. I have. Take care of yourself. John. Voice broke. Step forward aborted. I destroyed us. But I still love you. Always will. The words landed soft. No longer barbs but bomb deferred. I nodded, throat tight. I know. Me too. But love's not enough when trust's in ashes. He climbed in, door clicking final, cab pulling away into traffic's maw. I stood curbside, bags dripping juice like blood, until rain started, scattering me inside. October carved pumpkins grinning mockery. Halloween a solo affair, costumed as a ghost. Ironically, knocking back whiskey sours at a Capitol Hill dive. The bar thrummed queer joy, drag queens lip-syncing Gaga. Fairy lights twinkling safe harbor, but loneliness lapped, waves eroding resolve. Midnight, phone buzzed, unknown. Saw you from across the bar. Can we talk? See, heart lurching. I scanned the crowd. There, in corner booth, Christopher, civilian flannel, eyes hopeful hounds. Against better judgment, I slid in opposite, scotch sloshing. Stalking now, tease-edged defense. Coincidence, smile tentative. Or fate. Look, I won't beg. But I filed the papers. Signed everything. And Tommy, he's gone. For real. Police report, the works. Assault charges if he surfaces. Numb nod. Good. Silence stretched. Bar noise filler. He leaned in, voice low. I've been in therapy. Group for guys like me, closet holdouts. Fuck-ups learning late. Opening doors I bolted shut. Vulnerability. Raw as the tattoo I'd traced 100 nights. Why tell me? Because you deserve the man I could have been. The one who chooses you. Every detour. His hand hovered. Not touching. No pressure. Just know I'm working. For me. For what we had. I left then, air thick with what-ifs, walking home under harvest moon fat and forgiving. November whispered Thanksgiving. Family summons from Spokane, a siren call I resisted. Mom's turkey. Dad's awkward pats. Siblings' kids toddling chaos. Instead, I hosted Lisa and Strays, orphans of choice. A coworker newly out, her girlfriend with pie-burned fingers. Laughter filled the apartment, candles flickering hearth. But an empty chair gaped, Christopher's ghost at table's head. Post-feast stupor, dishes sudsing sink. My phone lit, happy turkey day. Miss your laugh. See, tears pricked. Hot. I texted back. Impulsive, miss yours too. How's the pie? Chain started innocent barbs. Burnt the crust. Again. Amateur. Next time. Blindfold. Flirtation crept. Cautious as spring thaw. December dusted frost. Holidays a minefield of cheer. We met neutral, coffee at the market. Steam rising between us like peace offering. He looked good, hair trimmed. Eyes clearer. A new job at an EV startup. Wrenches traded for code. Seeing anyone? Casual. But gut twist. He shook head. Foam on lip. Nah. Still yours. In my head. Heat flushed. Old paths sparking. Me neither. Christmas Eve. Snow blanketing uncommon white. He knocked. Mistletoe in fist. Echo of last year. Truce. Grin crooked. Hopeful. Pulled him in. Door shutting on cold. And we trimmed the tree slow. Ornaments unwrapped tissue soft. His carved duo gleaming first. Under boughs. Quilt wrapped. Fire crackling TV foe. We talked hours, therapy breakthroughs. His mom's pride in his city glow. My promotion's hollow ring. Still love me? He asked. Voice small. Head on my thigh. Always did. Truth. Unvarnished. But can we rebuild? Slow. His kiss was answer, gentle. Exploratory. Tongues tentative maps. No rush to bed. Just holding. Breaths sinking like engines tuned true. New Year dawned collaborative. Resolutions scrawled joint. Weekly dates. Honesty oaths. No ghosts. We rang in on the balcony. Corks popping. Fireworks blooming as he pulled a box. The pendant. Returned. Yours. Keep it close. January frosted tentative. But we thawed dinners at home. His hand chopping onions beside mine. Laughter bubbling sauce. Therapy bled over, his sessions shared. Vulnerabilities aired like laundry fresh. One night, March equinox edging. We hiked Discovery Park, twilight gilding sound. Waves whispering absolution. At the lighthouse, beam sweeping rhythmic. He dropped to knee. Ring glinting gold now. Etch second chance. Marry me again? Voice wrecked. For real this time. No detours. Tears blurred. Joy sharp. Yes. God. Yes. Wedding was small backyard affair in his mom's garden. Cherry trees blush. Lisa officiating with vows we'd penned. I choose you, broken and brave, every dawn. Vows exchanged. Kiss sealing. Crowd whooping, family mended. Friends toasting. Honeymoon. Road trip. 98 Taurus restored his hands. Highway unspooling like forgiven miles. Years folded, his startup boomed. My firm climbed. House bought in Fremont, Trollview porch. Garden bursting. Kids came late, adopted twins. Brown-eyed whirlwinds teaching chaos love. One evening, porch swing creaking. Grandkids clambering knees. Christopher's head on my shoulder. Compass pendant shared necklace. Best detour ever, he murmurs. Hand in mine. I squeeze. Sunset painting us gold. Damn right. And in that humanistic hush, flaws forged to strength. Love a repair enduring, we rock into twilight. True north found.